Storms roared through the region. Powerful thunderstorms lighting up the sky as lightning strikes knocked out power and split trees apart. The fierce storms are blamed for at least 2 deaths in our region. One of the hardest hit areas was Weymouth. News 4's Charles Austin has been working on this story since early on this morning, and he joins us now live from Weymouth. Charlie?
I can tell you here on Morning View Path in Weymouth, they are looking at a lot of devastation, like this tree here and a lot of other trees along this pathway that have fallen over, uprooted, and crushed the roofs of many houses. And you hear from people along this way who came through this nightmare without any injury.
I opened up the door and ran around and got my wife and child out of the car and into the garage and closed the door.
House on Westminster Road in Weymouth that this tree fell on, like scores of other homes along Whitman Pond last night. At least 300 Weymouth residents were without power overnight, and many more people thankful that electricity was all they lost. Some people reported seeing funnel spouts coming out of Whitman Pond over here, and the force was so powerful it uprooted that tree back there, snapped this one right in half, and uprooted this one here as well.
And I kept wondering, if it was a tornado, and we got kind of nervous, so we just got back into the house area, and everything just started flying.
Lenny DALTO's deck, cars, and garage were crushed. He and his family found safety in the door jambs of their home. They don't have a basement.
I went around here, I said it reminded me of the 38 hurricane.
This was the storm of '99 that they'll be talking about in Weymouth for years to come. No doubt more people will invest in generators. Mass electric crews are making good progress, except for this minor glitch when a water main pipe was broken by crews trying to set up a telephone pole.
We now have no power, no phone, no cable, and no water. We're running out of things to lose around here.
Despite the losses, resident Tony Henderson says they have a lot of things to be thankful for.
I mean, all this and not a soul was hurt. I mean, that's just beautiful. The good Lord was with us.
I'll say. And as you can see, there's a lot of heavy old oak trees that came down, just bruising heavy old oak trees that came down. The cable companies are here doing the best they can to restore cable in this area, but as of now, about 300 residents in Weymouth have no power. That's the story here from Weymouth. Charles Austin, News 4 New England. Now back to you.
All right, thank you, Charlie. Running out of things to lose in Weymouth. The intense storm has caused all sorts of problems in the area as a cold front collided with oppressively warm air. A homeowner in Holbrook shot this video of large hailstones falling on the roof of his house. And moments before, News 4's Beth
Weymouth. News 4's Ron Sanders is there live. Ron?
Joe, this is one of the most graphic examples of the storm damage around Whitman's Pond in Weymouth, and there's a remarkable story behind it. This big oak crashed through this house on Great Cliff Road, right where the woman who lives here was sitting moments earlier. Julie took us inside to show us the chair she was sitting in when the storm hit about 10:30 last night. She says her 10-year-old daughter, Sarah, started crying, pleading with her to come in. The woman who lives in this house on Lakehurst Avenue tells a similar story.
And she heard a crash, the whole house shook. She was here like minutes before. Wow.
The oak that fell on Annette Grandin's house came from her next-door neighbor's yard.
Oh, I think it's absolutely devastating. She's my best friend, my neighbor.
The buzz of chainsaws replaces the rush of hail and wind that homeowners here say shook their houses and cars, crushing some of both. This is Peter Marino's house. The man who owns this house says he saw a funnel cloud.
I said to myself, wow, that looks like to me it was like a tornado, So I didn't say nothing to my wife because I didn't want to get her nervous, Then things got really severe and the wind started blowing real hard.
But Joe Delacarpini of the National Weather Service finds no evidence of a tornado.
It looks like it's mostly due to straight-line wind damage, that it's just very strong winds which rush out from the thunderstorm. And actually, this correlates very well with what we were seeing on the Doppler radar last night as these storms moved through.
While the weather is much more pleasant here now, homeowners like the Kelleher's now have the less pleasant task of having trees like this one removed, having their houses repaired, and dealing with insurance companies. A spokesman for Mass Electric told us just before we went on the air that power has been restored to about 350 customers in this part of Weymouth who lost it, and about 55 more customers are still without power. The company is working to restore power to them. We'll give you an update at 6 live in Weymouth. Ron Sanders, News 4, New England. Liz?
Okay, Ron. Now to the north, New Hampshire is all